We have our speakers today, and I'm introducing Tom Boyce, so please pay attention.
Three guys are shipwrecked on an island, and they've been on the island for years, and all they have to eat is coconuts, and one day they see a bottle floating in the water, and they figure maybe there's a message or something in it, something different, and they swim out and get the bottle and bring it back onto the island. And as they're cleaning off the bottle, a genie comes out of the bottle, and the genie says, "Well, I've been in this bottle 1,000 years, I'm so glad to be out, I'm going to give each of you one wish." So the first guy right off, he says, "Well, I wish I was back in New York." He disappears, back in New York. Next guy says, "Well, I wish I was back in Cleveland." He disappears, he's back in Cleveland. But the third guy, he's not so hasty with his wish. He's thinking and thinking and thinking. He thinks for a long time, and he says, "It's awful lonely here without my friends. I wish I had my friends back." America, New Jersey, is faced with a lot of really serious issues. What would you say, as far as this group, what is the most important issue to you? And let me speak to that. Health, okay, health care. I'll preface what I'm about to say. Lenin, right? Nikolai Lenin, one of the most evil men that ever lived, who invented concentration camps long before it came to the depraved mind of Adolf Hitler, is quoted as saying, "National health care or socialized medicine is the keystone in the arch of the socialist state," meaning it gives government the greatest opportunity to micromanage the most intimate details of our lives, and at the same time it's one of the easiest things for them to bring about because they're able to play on the heartstrings of people. Oh, isn't it terrible that this person doesn't have insurance, or this person is sick, or and in order to insert itself into people's lives. Why we ended up with a healthcare problem, crisis, was even before Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, that's the actual name of what's known as Obamacare. Before that was passed, the government was 70% either directly or indirectly controlling health care. I remember the days when, when I was growing up, if you got sick, you could call your doctor, and he would come to your house with a little black bag and a stethoscope, and he'd actually come to your house. Good luck to get that nowadays. So what happened is that government more and more began to micromanage what doctors can do, what they can't do, and so on. And that drove the price up. The other thing that drove the price of healthcare up is lawsuits against malpractice lawsuits that had no limit, where juries were granting awards to say victims, even legitimate victims of malpractice lawsuits, but astronomical amounts. So that caused the cost of physicians' insurance to go sky high. In order for them to stay in business, they've got to pass that on. So that's part of the difficulty. What's needed is what's called tort reform, to limit how much can be awarded in case of malpractice suits. And the other thing is for government not to become more involved, but to become less involved. Let the free market, let the doctors themselves run their own businesses and not be micromanaged by the government. Now, Paul had started to mention about energy. I originally got involved politically 30 years ago because I used to have a very successful real estate business in Cape May County. If any of you remember Ethics Real Estate, maybe you remember my signs. It's going back 30 years ago. Okay? And the energy crisis hit, and I was pretty heavily financed, but I was doing okay. The energy crisis of the 70s hit, with the gas lines, and tourists in New York and Philadelphia couldn't come down to, so they couldn't get gasoline to come down to South Jersey. And I got wiped out, and I figured energy is the thing of the future, so I turned to inventing, and invented an ocean wave energy converting electric power plant, a way to get energy out of the ocean waves. And I patented it, and as I send information to different departments of government that receive billions of our tax dollars to encourage alternative energy technology, I continuously get stonewalled. And to this day, now it's 30 years later, and I'm still getting stonewalled by all the regulations. So the question is why? And the reason that Paul spoke to it a little bit is that there are a small group of elite companies, elite families in the world that literally control all the oil reserves of the world, and they control, through oil, the economies of the world. America has the largest oil deposits in the world in our western states, 2 trillion barrels. You don't have to be drilling in the Gulf. You don't have to be drilling in areas where it's environmentally sensitive. You can drill in Montana, the Dakotas, totally safe. But what would that do? That would make America totally energy self-sufficient. They don't want that. America invented nuclear power. We invented it, we developed it, but a new nuclear power plant hasn't come online in America in over 30 years. The question has to be why? Because people have a different agenda. And the agenda is not for America to be energy self-sufficient. It's not for America to be prosperous. Our state flags, anyone know what the emblem or the slogan of New Jersey is? Slogan of New Jersey? Come on. Liberty and prosperity. Liberty and prosperity. In fact, they have the emblem as the goddess of liberty and the goddess of prosperity on the state flag. And the reason that the founders put that there is because they knew that prosperity follows liberty as surely as wet streets follow rain. That's why America became so great, is that we were founded on the premise that the whole purpose of government is just protect our rights, not micromanage our lives, just protect our rights, and other than that, leave us alone. And that's freedom. This is a proper limitation of government, not no government, that's anarchy, just a proper amount of government to protect our rights, and that's all, leave us alone. And under that situation, people prosper because there's no greater motivation for people to prosper than knowing that they're going to keep what they earn. It's not going to be taxed away from them. But as government has grown larger and larger, the regulations are just choking small businesses. Ocean Spray cranberries are just closed up after 68 years in New Jersey because of the regulations. This RGGI, Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which is a gigantic scam for taxing carbon emissions. If you remember your high school biology, humans breathe oxygen, live on oxygen, and plants live on carbon dioxide. And that's what they're regulating. Carbon dioxide is a good thing. That's what plants live on. That means bumper crops. It's a gigantic scam, and it's just destroying New Jersey, it's destroying America, the regulations that just shouldn't be. So the three of us, Hallie and Greto and Boyce, God willing, will be elected to the state legislature, and we'll begin to turn things around. We'll fight to turn things around. We're not going there just to get along and be bobbleheads. We're going to fight to turn things around, obey the Constitution, the state Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, get government back to just protecting our rights, get the genie back in the bottle of just protecting our rights, and prosperity will follow. When government backs off of health care, that's the issue. Government backs off of health care. Physicians will be able to make a profit and reduce their costs, and hospitals will be able to make a profit and reduce their costs. That's what we need to get back to, the freedom. What's happening is we have an economic crisis, but that's the symptom. It's the erosion of our liberty as Americans. That's the real fundamental problem. That's what's causing the economic problem. So please vote for me in the primary, June 7th. If you're a Republican, if you're an independent or unaffiliated, you can still vote on the day of the primary just by going in and declaring yourself for that day as a Republican. Then you can switch back if you like. But we need to win the primary in order to be in the general election and be able to make a difference. Thank you.